Hey guys, Sean T. Phillips here with a brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday Shambler today. Today gonna go out, see what things came out today, see what things are on sale. I know the big releases today, was the Lego Batman movie. I know there's gonna be a number of different, retail exclusive versions of that. So definitely gonna go and check out those versions. And I believe there's gonna be like a Steelbook of John Wick 2, and there might be some other retail versions of that one, or I'm not 100% certain though. Also, I posted up a video yesterday, if you guys haven't seen it, a video with my brother and, Danny, the Cinestark, going to the San Diego Fair. So definitely check out that video below if you guys haven't seen that. Some pretty funny stuff happened in that one. We also saw Styx performing. They were like randomly there at the concert, so it's kind of funny though. So definitely, if you guys haven't seen that, check out that video below. Also, at the end of this video, gonna have a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some things I received to review and talk about for you guys, so check out those at the end of this video. Some pretty cool stuff too as well. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. Into Target we go. And they have the standee out here for, Batman, the Lego Batman movie. And this is the one they have here, the Target exclusive one. It has in here like an exclusive mini figure in here, plus 3 collectible postcards. That's the figure that's in here, or it might, I don't know if it's, I'm pretty certain that's the one that's in there, and that one is $24.99 for the exclusive one. It's funny, it looks like this is more money, and this is in the wrong spot. It looks like the regular Blu-ray is $27.99, and then the exclusive one is $24.99, unless these are in the wrong spot or something. Yeah, and I think that's, like I said, this looks like this is the toy that's in here. And they also have, the other Lego movies as well on here. And the original Lego movie. Let's see if there's any other ones in here. Yeah, it's weird. It definitely seems like this edition, for some reason, is less money than the standard one. That's kind of funny. And some of the other stuff that came out here today, was John Wick Chapter 2, which I really like this movie a lot. I think I like this one a lot more than the first movie. The first movie was really cool. I feel like this one just was like a cooler movie all around. There's everything that was happening in it. The 4K of that one is, $29.99, and then the standard Blu-ray is $19.99 for that one. Other than that in here, I think this came out today, this new edition of the Spider-Man films. This has the original Spider-Man films and this kind of like sort of limited edition kind of hardbound case thing, so that's kind of cool. Ones of these ones, I always really like these movies. I thought Tobey Maguire was was really cool as Spider-Man. I don't know, and for some reason, I kind of wish they would have continued doing it, because I know they were going to do that 4th movie and then it kind of got canceled right before. Other than that though, some of the other things that came out today, was Bones, the final chapter, the final season of the show. I'm gonna have an unboxing though at the end of this video showing the entire set of this series. And I think the other thing today as well was South Park, the complete 20th season. So that was one of the other ones that came out today. Into Big Lots we go. And I haven't been in here in like months. It's probably been like maybe 2 months or something, but I saw online people were posting up some pictures and looked like they got in some new stuff, so we shall see. So we'll take a look and see if there's anything here different today. This place though, it doesn't change out very much. I feel like it ends up being like the same stuff for a very long time, and then like all of a sudden they have some new things. Like Prometheus, I think this might be a newer one in here for $5, and I think Spy might be another one that's new for $5. I know online I saw like 1 million copies of the Fantastic Four Reboot, because that was one of those movies I kind of like knew would end up in here, and all I saw for that in here was a DVD of that one. Over here they have like one DVD copy of that, but it doesn't seem like they have any of the Blu-rays. That really was though a terrible movie. This one though, I always loved this movie, Mom and Dad Save the World. This is like one of those movies as a kid. I watched this movie so many times. I always feel like this one would be one that would have gone out of print, because like that one movie from HBO Video, Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, that went out of print, and that one's like super valuable and so expensive and hard to find. Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde, that's one of my favorite movies for some reason, that one. But this one, I watched this so many times as a kid and love the theme song to this. It's one of those movies though, when I watch it now, it doesn't like hold up as good, but I think like for a John Lovitz movie, it's probably my favorite like John Lovitz movie, and there's just something really strange about this movie that I've always really liked. But it seems to be pretty much the same stuff in here, besides the few things that I showed, like the Spy one and stuff like that. But other than that, doesn't seem to be anything in here too different today. Yeah, pretty much all the same stuff. Into the Valley Thrift Store we go. And it looks like in here they got some more stuff in here because there's a bunch of stuff down on the bottom and stuff like that. So it definitely looks like they finally updated in here a little bit. So we're going to look through here, see if there's anything in here different. I think I was here maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that. Or maybe 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. I try and come back here every so often because I have found some decent stuff here in the past, but then it goes like same with like Big Lots. It's one of those places where it ends up being the same stuff for quite a while. But we'll look through here and see if they have anything in here different today. I think this one at one point was out of print, this Thunder in Paradise. I don't think it's rare to find anymore, I don't believe. And this one, I don't know if I've ever seen this one, this Lance Henriksen movie, The Garden. This is some weird like fitness thing. Fitness, energy, health thing, I don't know. But looking through here, like I said, not really seeing anything that different in here today. I don't know what this one is. Tom Selleck Western Collection thing. And this one in here, The State, I don't know much about this one. This one, like, I think it's worth like only like $15, something like that, but I don't know much about this. Some MTV like sketch show. It's cool though that Amanda Bynes finally came back with that interview and wants to come back and, you know, start acting again and stuff. So definitely hope, you know, she actually does that and stuff. So it is cool that she's finally, you know, done that interview and stuff. Like I said though, this is the only kind of different thing I saw in here today. But like I said, I don't really know much at all about like what it is, if it's any good or not. Into Walmart we go. And in here they have this like exclusive edition, this only at Walmart one here. It's like in a kind of exclusive lunchbox with a movable cape thing. That's kind of cool. It's like, it seems like it's $29.99. So it's like the regular one here is $24.99. So it's like $5 more for this lunchbox thing in here. And I guess it has like a cape thing on the back or something like that. So that's kind of cool, you know, exclusive one for that. And their 4K edition here is $29.96 for that one, and their 4K is $24.96 for John Wick in here. And I think this one came out today as well. This like Transformers 4 movie collection. This is another one of those exclusive ones that has like an exclusive figure thing in here. These movies though, like I've only really like watched, I think like the first one. I don't really like love them that much, like from what I've seen. Like the new one looks kind of interesting. It's kind of weird, the trailers for the new one. It's like, I feel like there's like two very different trailers for the new one. Like one that shows it's all kind of Mark Wahlberg, and then the other one that shows it's about a group of these kids and looks like a totally different movie. It's very strange. For some reason, like it's two totally different ones. And then the other movie that came out today was this one, Table 19, and I saw this one in theaters. This movie was kind of funny. It was like kind of this people invited to a wedding, and they were all kind of like the losers at the wedding that they didn't have anywhere else to put them at the tables, so they all were kind of, you know, sitting together, and they were kind of getting into their weird type of mischief and stuff like that, you know, at the wedding. And Anna Kendrick's character, you know, was having problems with her ex-boyfriend, and he was there. It was I don't know, I kind of thought it was a funny movie, nothing like amazing. And the other one today, which I really loved, this movie starring Elle Fanning, Three Generations, definitely would recommend this one. And I think this one might have been today, or maybe this was last week, I don't know. Headshot and Chapter and Verse, I'm pretty sure both of those, and Bitter Harvest, I'm sure I think these ones were all today as well. And I don't know what's in this spot that's empty, some kind of dragon heart or something like that. And they have some more of these, you know, only at Walmart 4K ones, and I believe these came out today, that has, you know, X-Men First Class, X-Men Days of Future Past, and X-Men Apocalypse in here for $34.99, and, you know, Rise of the Planet Apes and Dawn of the Planet Apes for $29.99, and then Independence Day, and then, you know, Independence Day Resurgent and Maze Runner and Scorched Trials. So that's a pretty decent prices for these. I you know, have them all together in these sets like that. And these are those, you know, only at Walmart ones they have. And this past weekend, the two movies that I saw, you know, was It Comes at Night, and that's one of those movies that's getting like really, really amazing reviews. I think it's got like an 89%, something like that on Rotten Tomatoes. Everybody seems to really like it. I will say though, it's one of those movies though, well, you know, it's getting all those really good reviews, but I don't like it as much as I thought I was. Like, I didn't know too much about it going into it. It's a movie that deals with, you know, a kind of like some kind of a virus that's going on, and this family has locked themselves into their house and, you know, trying to kind of keep from getting sick, and you don't really know too much about it, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, and the movie kind of deals with, like, if you can trust people, and that's the big basis of the movie, is about trusting. And I don't know, I thought it was a kind of a cool concept. But there was another movie called Into the Forest, Ellen Page movie, that was like a kind of the same kind of thing about these sisters that were surviving out in the middle of the woods during this virus. There's been a lot of movies about like viruses like that and people locking themselves in the houses and stuff like that. This one, though, this one kind of changed a little bit, but I kind of like the Into the Forest a little better, even though that wasn't a horror movie. I don't know, I was kind of more interested in that one. This movie was, like I said, was okay, but I don't know, there was some creepy aspects to it a little bit. The cinematography was amazing, the acting was really good, but just, I don't know, there's something about it, I did not love it as much as I thought I was going to, and I always hate when that kind of happens, but it still was, I'd say, worth watching. It was one of those movies, too, when the movie was over, like, everybody in the audience was kind of complaining, like that happens in some of those movies. But the other one that I saw this past weekend, was The Mummy, the new, Tom Cruise, like, The Mummy reboot. And like that one's, getting really, really bad reviews. I mean, it's kind of setting up the, the Universal like dark universe, and I think that's going to have like Creature from the Black Lagoon, kind of a lot of like the classic Universal monsters movies they're remaking. I think they're all going to tie them together. And that was the one downfall of this Mummy movie, was they were trying to set that whole thing up and kind of like showing things that were going to connect to some of the other ones. And like Russell Crowe's character was kind of weird, and what were having him doing and happening to him, they didn't totally need that, I don't think. I don't know. And like, it's one of those things too, since it didn't do well, I really wonder if they're going to like go and, continue with it like that. And I don't know, it makes you wonder what they're going to do, if they're going to kind of ignore this one or what's going to happen with it. But it really wasn't like horrible. I love the actress, that played the Mummy. I thought she did a really good job. There was some cool aspects, and it definitely was more of like a horror movie too. And it definitely had some like some zombies and stuff like that in it. I know I kind of liked it. Like, it wasn't absolutely amazing whatsoever though, but there was some cool stuff. And I always think it's kind of funny too, the guy who plays Tom Cruise's friend and like sidekick in the movie, he always kind of reminds me of Charlie Day. He kind of has like him and Charlie Day seem like almost like the same person sometimes. It's kind of like who took each other's kind of act and way of acting, because they're so similar. It's like really strange how similar both of them are. But if you guys have seen either of those movies, let me know below what you guys think. This coming weekend there's a bunch of different stuff coming out too. But anyway though, like I said, let me know below what you guys thought of those movies, if you saw them, and what movies are coming up you guys are looking forward to seeing. Into Best Buy we go. Yeah, and here they only have one left of this John Wick Chapter 2, the exclusive Steelbook one for that one. So that's pretty cool. Look to the Steelbook one in here, and it's $19.99. So pretty much, exactly the same price as the regular Blu-ray. And then their 4K one is $24.99. It has one thing, it says save $5 when you buy John Wick Steelbook or 4K. When you buy any two. So I guess if you're buying two of them, because I think there was a Steelbook of John Wick of the first movie, but that one seems to be gone. I'll have to see if that one is in the section. And here's the one that they didn't put out in Walmart, this Dragon World. I think it's like a new, is this like in the world of those Dragon World? It's called Dragon Heart, but I don't know if this is somehow connected to those Dragon World films, or it's a totally different movie, or I don't know for sure on that. And this other one was today as well, this Armie Hammer film, Mine, I believe. But I'm pretty sure this was this week, or it could have been last week. And they have some 4K ones on sale in here, which I think these are like only on sale at Best Buy for these prices, like The Martian for $14.99, Mike and Dave for $14.99, Revenant for $14.99. But I don't see the Steelbook for, the Lego Batman movie. I have to look in the section as well to see if there's any more of them left. Yeah, I see a standee over here of the Lego movie. So yeah, it looks like they got a whole bunch of them over here. So if you guys don't see them in the front, they have a standee for the Lego Batman movie. So they have a whole bunch of different ones. But here's a little look at the, the Steelbook edition of the Lego Batman movie. So that's pretty cool. That one's, $24.99. So it's exactly the same price as the standard Blu-ray edition one for that. So and they also have a 3D edition of the movie as well, and that one's $29.99. I don't think 3D is as big of a thing anymore, because they don't really push it on the most of the new TVs don't have 3D anymore. It doesn't seem to be like with me too when I go to the movies. I never really go to the 3D version. It's I don't know. I'm never that into the whole 3D thing. When it was new, I I liked it, and I always think of, when I think of 3D movies, I think of Muppet Vision 3D at, you know, MGM and Disney and stuff, but like, I don't know, I don't see the thing with that too much, but it's cool though, they do have some of these ones left in here. And this one here too is a really cheap price for the 4K. Passengers is only $14.99 for the 4K release of that one. That was one of the other ones I know that was on sale this week in here. Well, that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping fair today. The only thing I ended up getting in there was, you know, the new Katy Perry, because, like, I don't know, I always kind of like her music, and, you know, wanted something new to listen to in the car. And, you know, I still do get CDs, and then, you know, mainly listen to them in the car. That's for, like, for the most part. But now, like I said, you know, if you guys enjoy these videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Now stay tuned for some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video is a movie called Madhouse. I never saw this one before. It's actually a pretty interesting movie. It's about this, like, these two sisters, and the one sister had been locked away for like most of her life in the insane asylum, and the one sister, you know, who wasn't there, you know, is basically they are calling her from the hospital saying you should come and see her, and she reluctantly goes to see her, and the second she goes in there, that sister is like messing with her again, because like the sister, you know, it's in the nut house, used to always like torment the one sister, and she would like torture her, and she would like torment her with this dog, and would like she was just really awful to her. So the second she goes in there to see her, she starts saying terrible stuff. She's like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna do this, and she's like saying all this horrible stuff to her, and then, you know, then she's like telling people about what had happened to her and why she has such a terrible situation because of this sister. Of course, though, that sister in the nut house ends up escaping, and then the second she escapes, things start happening, and there's like these attacks and these deaths that are happening that look like they're the result of this dog. You see this kind of dog lurking around outside all the time. So it's like this really creepy thing about like the sister, or, you know, is it the sister who's escaped who's like sending this dog after him? Is it somebody else? You kind of like don't know for sure. It's one of those kind of things, like wondering who it is, and like a pretty creepy movie, like with the dog too. Like the dog, kind of like a Cujo kind of aspect to it with this dog. I don't know. I thought this was actually a pretty fun movie, and actually the music in here too. The composer who did the music in this is the same person who did the music in, you know, Cannibal Holocaust, and it was done around that same time. I think it was like a year or two after Cannibal Holocaust. So it's got that same type vibe to that. There's even like one or two like pieces of like synth in it that sound exactly like the same type of synth that he was using in Cannibal Holocaust. I don't know, I kind of thought this was a cool movie. Like I said, I had never heard of this one before. It has on here though a brand new, you know, 2K restoration scan of the movie on here, as well as a brand new commentary track with the Hysteria Continues group. They've done a commentaries on a number of different releases, like Satan's Blade, a lot of stuff that Vinegar Syndrome has released. I don't know, I always like their commentary. It's like a group of these guys, and they're kind of like comedy commentary tracks, and they kind of like say kind of funny anecdotes and like things that were cheesy about them and their kind of takes on things and stuff. I don't know, I always really like their commentaries. They kind of have like sort of like the kind of the way Joe Bob Briggs would talk about things, you know, with Monster Vision, like sort of in like a comedic type of way. Has on here as well some interviews in here with the cinematographer and some of the cast members as well as a little look inside though at the artwork in here on the discs, and it has in here the original artwork as well. It's like these creepy eyes, but like I said, this is a pretty cool movie that I had never seen before. The next one here from Lionsgate is a movie, you know, a Dolph Lundgren film with starring Denise Richards, and it's a movie called Altitude. This was actually kind of a fun movie, I like too that it kind of started off kind of having like this comedic kind of aspect to it, because you really don't know what kind of movie it's going to be, because like the stuff with Denise Richards on the plane, you know, there's like especially her like mad at this guy who's sitting in her seat and stuff. There's like this really funny thing that happens with like her and this guy in the seat and stuff, but it's basically though Denise Richards is this FBI agent who doesn't really follow the rules of what they tell her. She was trying to help this one guy off of a building because of what he was going to do. He was like holding these people hostages and stuff, and like he wasn't off the building, but he's like in there, and you know he's gonna get shot because he's holding them hostage, and so she ends up going in there to kind of help him and stop him from getting shot. And because she disobeyed the orders, they basically make kind of like, they don't fire from the FBI, but they send her to desk duty, so she's on the flight going to where she's being, you know, put up for the new place to work as basically doing a desk job. And she's on the plane ride that she's on, she sits, you know, gets bumped to first class because of the whole situation about this guy in her seat. So stewardess says, here, there's a spot for you in first class. You can sit here. I always wanted to say something like this to these, the people who come on the plane that are causing problems and stuff. But, of course, she sits next to this guy who's like this sort of rich kind of guy, and he's like starting to talk to her and saying, like, he kind of figures out right away that she's FBI, and he's like saying, listen, he starts off normal and she thinks he's trying to pick her up and stuff like that, but then he starts saying these weird stuff like, listen, I'll give you all this money, like I think it was like a couple $1 million, something like that, if you help get me off this plane alive, and saying that these people are after her and they're after him and he's gonna kill him and stuff like that. And she's like, well, you can't be telling me this stuff. I'm with the FBI. I'll get you arrested and all that. She's like, no, I'm serious. Things are bad. You don't want to work at the FBI anymore anyway. The desk, listen, if you help me, of course, though, there's something going on this plane. And she comes to find out that she's going to have to figure out how to stop him, and it's like all these bad guys on there, and one of them's Dolph Lundgren flying the plane, and they're, she's trying to figure out exactly what's going on here and why they want this guy sitting next to her, that she's sitting next to, and trying to figure out how she's going to stop this plane from, all this bad stuff from happening. Like I said, it's actually kind of a fun movie, and I like that they added in some kind of comedic aspects to this one. The next one here from Fox, the movie called, and I've talked about this one a lot, really love this movie. Probably one of my top favorite movies. It's definitely going to be in my list of top favorite movies of this year so far. It's the movie called Cure for Wellness. And Fox also sent over this. They sent over the robe that I showed you guys before, but they sent over this cool, kind of thermos type thing here. And inside of here, they put teeth. Because, in the movie, there's a scene with these teeth. And if you've seen the film, the teeth kind of pay off in this film, in the film. But just a really cool promo item for this one. But the movie, though, is basically about Dane DeHaan's character, who gets sent to his boss where he works the company. They need to kind of get him to sign off on this kind of thing that they're trying to do, like some kind of plans for expansion and things like that. But of course, though, this boss is at this wellness clinic, and I think the clinic is somewhere in Europe, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but he gets, he's there in this wellness clinic, and, they send Dane DeHaan's character over there and say, listen, you need to get him back from there, you need to get him to come here, sign the paper so we can go on with what we're trying to do with the company, and then he can do whatever he wants. It doesn't matter if he's having his breakdown, but you got to get him back here. So Dane DeHaan goes there to this weird wellness clinic spa to try and get him back. Of course, as soon as he gets in there, it's sort of like something is very odd about this place, and, they're like, well, he can leave anytime he wants to. Of course, though, he's like, I can't leave. I'm being treated. And there's all this weird stuff that has to do with water there, and these really peculiar treatments, and this a very, very strange stuff going on. The movie has a real, 70s kind of, throwback kind of vibe, like the Jean Rollin type films, and, it's very hard to explain. It's one of those kind of movies that's, Gore Verbinski directed this, and he directed, I think the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie and The Ring, the original, the first Ring remake. I always really have liked his films. This is definitely my favorite thing that he's done. This is a really, really, truly amazing movie, but it's one of those movies that a lot of people kind of went over people's heads and they didn't know what they were in for with it. But I love this movie so much. It has on here, though, a deleted scene on here, as well as some stuff on here about the score and theatrical trailers, but definitely give this one a chance. It's a long movie, but it's one of those movies that was long, but I couldn't think of anything that I could have cut out of this, because I don't know, all around, though, I love this movie. The next one I got here from Fox is Logan. This is the 4K edition of the movie. This movie was this is probably one of my favorite superhero movies, and the thing about this movie is, even though it's a superhero movie, I feel like it is and it isn't at the same time. It's also much more of a heavy drama film about, the Wolverine character, Logan, now after he's left the X-Men, and what he's doing now, and he's kind of hiding out and kind of depressed and not very happy about anything, and just kind of broken down. I feel like even if you don't like superhero movies, this is one of those movies where I feel like you could watch. I also really liked that this movie went for a hard R rating. They really after Deadpool, and I think they had planned that ahead of time. But I like, though, to see some of these superhero movies going for way more with it and going for an R rating and not really worrying about it. Because with this, it really added to the movie, because it has some ultra violence aspects to it with the deaths and stuff like that in here. I think it's pretty cool, though. It has the 4K edition of the movie, but it also has the black and white noir version of the film, and that's in 4K as well. That definitely gives it a really cool look to the movie in black and white. Then it also has the basically, I'll show you guys. It has, the 4K disc of the movie, the 4K disc of the black and white film, and then the Blu-ray of the theatrical version, and a Blu-ray of the noir version. It also has a digital code in here as well. But really, really great movie. Really, really looks good on 4K. Has a whole bunch of different features on here. It has the making of Logan. It has deleted scenes, a commentary track on here, a commentary track on the noir version of the movie. But definitely one, the 4K too really adds to this movie. The 4K, the big thing too, like I always say, is the high dynamic range, which adds, the contrast levels, brighter colors. And this movie definitely has that real kind of like dingy, kind of dark, depressing, kind of dirty kind of look to the whole movie, and really, really looks cool in 4K. Like I said too, the black and white version really has a cool look to it. Really like when they do these kind of like, they did, they released Mad Max Fury Road. They gave that a black and white edition, but it's cool to see like some of these movies, to see them in black and white, because I don't know, it definitely gives it a cooler look. And then I feel like this movie actually could have been released in black and white. I don't think people would have responded well to it as much though, because they've been like, why is it in black and white? But it definitely does give it a really cool look though. The next one here, from National Geographic, is a Years of Living Dangerously. It's a TV series. It's a pretty interesting series, all about the kind of like the climate and the problems with the climate going on, and global warming and higher tides and all that kind of stuff. And the thing that's interesting about this is it has the celebrities going to these certain types of locations to like kind of like, some of them are kind of affected by certain things, like the one's father was in this flood in Hurricane Katrina, and like he's going to look into like what kind of causes this and all these certain things. And it's like, Jack Black's character is going to look like, acting like he's going to buy a home in Miami, and then talking about how that whole area in Florida could be underwater in a couple of years. It's definitely a really interesting thing, showing all these different areas and kind of like the areas affected with it. And it's got some of the people that go around to the areas and kind of investigate and look at the things as kind of like the correspondents, almost like doing the news story on them, but they're in the locations. Or on here like Don Cheadle, David Letterman on here, Nikki Reed, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Cecily Strong, Sigourney Weaver, Bradley Whitford. So a really cool thing on here, like going to these different areas. The next one here is a documentary, kind of on a similar subject matter, and this one, Fisher Stevens, I always think of him from the Short Circuit movies, but he actually has directed some movies, and he directed this documentary that he produced along with Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio is the star of this, kind of going around to these areas, and interviewing people and talking to people who are infected by, like in like other countries and stuff like that, by global warming and all these kind of things with the melting ice caps. And he goes to all the areas. But it's a documentary called Before the Flood. This came out about a year or so ago, I believe. But it was actually a pretty interesting documentary, and like I said, it's Leonardo DiCaprio going to these areas, interviewing these people, talking to them about it, talking to Congress and all this kind of stuff about why this stuff is important. And it's definitely like really prevalent now too, to what's going on and stuff like that. I don't get into all that kind of stuff, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it's definitely a really, really well made documentary here. And the next one here from National Geographic as well. This is the second season of this, and this is definitely an interesting one as well too, because Morgan Freeman is not like himself a very religious person, so it's kind of interesting to see him going and kind of hearing about people's opinions and beliefs, and in their cultures, as their views on God and all that kind of stuff. And it's this series called The Story of God with Morgan Freeman. So like I said, it's kind of him going to other countries and kind of looking, as he says, like for the proof of God, and kind of their takes on it, and their kind of renditions and beliefs on it, and kind of in their cultures and stuff like that. But definitely an interesting one if you guys are interested in that. And I always love Morgan Freeman. Like I said, it's him pretty much for the most part going to all these places. And the next one here, Fox sent over, I want to show you guys. This is a pretty cool set. This is the complete series of the TV show Bones, and this is called Bones: The Flesh and Blood Collection. I'm going to show you guys a look inside of this one, what it looks like and how this the seasons are set up. But if you guys don't know, show. It's basically about an FBI agent who works with a anthropologist, forensic anthropologist, who basically, forensic scientist who looks at, evidence of, things about death and stuff like that, and tries to put together the clues and try and solve cases and talking to like the witnesses and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty cool show. It's one of those shows though I have not seen that many episodes of. It's been on since, it just recently ended the final season. But here's a look at inside the case. But it's basically all the seasons in here in their own disc. So it's basically all the past releases in here, but it's all the seasons. Complete 6th season, 5th season. So it's all the ones that have been released in the past, but all together in one set like this. I always like when they have releases like this, when they're all, not like squeezed into like those kind of like, some of those sets when they put a whole series in there, they kind of put, them in kind of like thin kind of cases or like a spindle type thing. This release here is all of them in their the original kind of cases, and they have all the special features. They were in the past ones, like a number of different ones have deleted scenes, gag reels, and all that kind of stuff on them. So there's nothing missing from this this release here. But this, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys how this one is laid out. If you guys don't have this any of these seasons as well already, you guys can get them all in this big set like that. But a really cool thing to have all these together in one thing. And like I said, this series just ended a couple months back. The last one had aired for this one. The next one here from Vertical Entertainment is a movie called Rupture. This is from the director of the movie Secretary. Really great, great movie, but this is a really different movie for him. This is a more of a horror thriller type movie. It stars Naomi Rapace, from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Prometheus, and she was also in a really cool horror movie called The Monitor, which I feel like not a lot of people have seen, but a really seriously creepy movie. And Michael Chiklis is in this movie as well. He's from The Shield, and I always really like him. He's like always really cool, and I think him too from that Three Stooges movie they did. For some reason, I always think of that when I think of him. But this movie is called Rupture. It's kind of got the vibe of Martyrs. It's about this woman, this mother who drops her son off to see her, her husband, because they had gotten divorced. And something, you find out though in the beginning of the movie, this woman is like being watched in the kitchen. You see her everywhere. Somebody is like watching her on these hidden cameras throughout the entire house. They're watching the son. You don't exactly know who's watching, but she ends up basically getting, you see Michael Chiklis' character put something on her tire, and he detonates it, and she gets into like a car accident, and these weird guys kind of come to help her. And they end up taking her and putting her in the back of this truck, and she ends up waking up, and they tie her up in the back of the truck and put this thing over her face, and it's like really weird what's going on. And she wakes up in this really weird kind of like creepy looking room with really weird lighting, and they're basically like doing weird stuff to her, and like these weird types of like trying to scare her, and like asking her about her biggest fears, and they're all putting on these really weird like glasses type things when they turn on the regular lights. It's kind of like, what's going on? The movie's kind of got this vibe sort of like an R-rated like adult Are You Afraid of the Dark for some reason. Like it kind of had that sort of feel, like if they made like a Are You Afraid of the Dark R-rated movie, it kind of like felt like that a little bit, like what was going on, especially some of the weirdness that was going on. And it's kind of like her in there trying to figure out how she's going to get out of this place, exactly what these people want, what they're doing to her. I don't know, I kind of like this movie. It was one of those movies too, I wasn't totally sure how I felt about it at the end, and then like once I thought about it more, I was kind of like, this is kind of a cool weird movie. Definitely a different movie for the director too, but like I don't know, I thought this was actually like a really kind of cool movie, and like I said, I liked this a lot more after I thought about it, just what was going on, and had a really cool look to the movie and a really cool vibe and everything. I don't know, definitely one I would say worth checking out here. And like Walmart has this movie though, and it has a different cover, so if you guys get confused, this is the one cover, but the Walmart cover has a kind of picture like this on it. The next one here I want to let you guys know is out, and this is one from Wellgo USA, and it's a new movie starring Jackie Chan. It's a movie called Railroad Tigers, and it's basically though about, it's kind of like a group of these people who are trying to take over this train to get supplies because they desperately need food and stuff like that. It's kind of like a a thing about him all coming after them, trying to get in there, and the whole kind of all the problems that are going into trying to steal this stuff to get food for them, because their country is basically like really low on food, and this train has all these supplies, and it's kind of that kind of vibe film. But it has on here though a making of the movie, visual effects featurette, and has also the English language version of the movie as well. But definitely a fun Jackie Chan film. The next one here from Wild Eye Releasing is a movie called Forest of the Vampire. This is actually kind of a fun movie, and like I didn't know at first like if it was like this, because this guy dresses like a vampire in this movie, and I was thinking like, is this guy supposed to be like a legitimate vampire, or is this like it's this crazy guy sort of dressed like a vampire? And I didn't really know. It's funny too, this one guy has a cameo on here, and he was like the guy from that movie The Forest. It was kind of cool to see him in this movie, that old 80s movie The Forest, but he has like this quick cameo in this movie. But it's about a group of these friends going out on this trip, and they end up kind of wandering into this forest. And like I said, as soon as they get out there, though, there's this weird kind of like vampire out there, and you see this vampire too in the beginning and throughout the movie on their way of getting to this area, kind of killing people and drinking their blood, and they have like kind of these weird deaths and stuff like that. But of course, they get out there, and the one friend goes missing, and there's like this female vampire out there as well, because it's basically like a whole forest filled with vampires. The thing that's kind of interesting about this too was it was all set during the day, so like I've never really seen a vampire movie where it's all like total daylight, because they filmed it in this park, and I feel like it was one of those kind of parks where it was like you can't be in this park after 8 p.m. So it was kind of like they had to just like shoot it during the day. To be honest too, it was kind of a smart way to do it, because then you don't have to really worry about the lighting or anything. You can just shoot with the natural light, because if you did this at night, it would be really difficult to do it. You'd have to have a lot of lights and stuff, because this was definitely an ultra low budget movie, but it's kind of a fun movie. Like I said, I kind of liked that it was like this guy, and you didn't know at first, you're wondering, is this a real vampire, or is this like a crazy guy dressed like this or not? But it has on here though a director's commentary on here, so I actually listened to some of the commentary on this. It has a making of featurette, outtakes, and deleted scenes. And the last one here from Wild Eye Releasing as well is a movie called The Butcher Possessions. This is about a group of these kind of a video blogger, and like these that kind of they do like these challenges, like he's like doing things he's posting up online about him, like, oh, you challenged me to do this, and they're like the challenges get worse and worse. It's like a group of these friends that all do these kind of challenges, and they kind of what was this? They have this challenge to go into this certain type of a house where something bad had happened to them, in the past there. Of course, so they go into this house to do this vlog, and you see throughout it too, talking to the parents and the family members of these people, these kids that went out there and did this. You find out though something bad had happened to them. So it's kind of like cutting to the parents talking about it, then to the footage of them into this house, and it kind of goes to show exactly what happens in there and what things they encounter when they go and do this kind of ritual out in this house where something bad had happened. So it's kind of like a found footage kind of thing done in a documentary kind of style. It was actually kind of a creepy thing. I always kind of like these kind of things about like done like a Blair Witch kind of style type movie. Definitely a cool cover on this one as well. But anyway though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Now I'm going to have a quick unboxing of the BAM box. Now we're going to take a quick look inside the BAM box. So I put a link below too where you guys can sign up for the BAM box if you guys are interested. So let's take a look and see, what's inside this month's box. The first thing I see in here, this is cool. This is like a film cell. Like if I can hold up to the light here, you can kind of see in here. Yeah, like a film cell from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's a pretty cool thing here. So it's like it has a certificate of authenticity on here. Let's see, there's also a pin here. What was this character from? Yeah, it's from, I have to look on the thing here. I know this character, I can't remember what it's from for certain. There's also in here, usually there's autographs and stuff. This is some H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds print thing. It's 1/16 of 500 they make of this one, and it's signed as well. But here's also a signature in here. This is who signed this one? It's Tom. Signed by Tom Kane, the voice of Yoda in Star Wars: The Clone Wars. That's pretty cool in here. They always include, some autographs in here. It says in here, the Defender Space Edition one, and it shows in here too. Usually there's like some variants of things. Yeah, I think there's like some variants of different pictures that he signs, and I guess like different film cells from the movie, and also different versions of the print. There's also doing a giveaway for a Daredevil thing. Let me see if it says anything about the pin. Yeah, the pin is from, what is this thing? Oh, from Buck successful, I think it's from the TV show Buck Rogers. So actually, I never watched any of that in my entire life. Somehow I never saw that show. I think I may have seen clips, but never like full episodes of that one. So that's a pretty cool thing in here as well. And it says the next month is going to be heroes and villains. So it's going to be like heroes and villains kind of ones for the next box. But anyway, guys, thanks again for watching.